What makes a person truly powerful? Is it their words, their threats, their ability to command a room? Or is it something deeper, something unseen yet undeniable? Imagine standing before a predator in the wild. It doesn't snarl, it doesn't lunge, it simply watches, still, silent, calculating. And somehow that silence is more terrifying than any roar. Or picture a chess grandmaster sitting motionless as his opponent sweats, mind racing, desperate to predict his next move. But he gives away nothing. That is power. Real power isn't loud. It doesn't seek validation. It exists in the quiet confidence of those who don't need to prove themselves. The Stoics understood this well. They knew that true strength comes not from aggression, but from control of oneself, of one's emotions, of the energy one projects into the world. In this video, we'll explore 7 silent strategies from Stoic philosophy that will make your enemies think twice before crossing you. Master these, and you won't need to speak to command respect. Your presence alone will be enough. Let's begin. 1. Master your emotions. The greatest power you can wield is not over others, it is over yourself. When your enemies try to provoke you, when they mock, insult, or attempt to rattle your composure, the instinctive response is to react, to defend yourself, to retaliate, to prove that you are not weak. But here's the truth. The moment you react emotionally, you hand them control. Nothing unsettles an enemy more than someone they cannot provoke. When they try to push your buttons and are met with calm indifference, it forces them to question themselves. They don't know how to handle someone who refuses to be manipulated. Your emotional control becomes your weapon, and your composure becomes their greatest frustration. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." Strength does not come from shouting, from aggression, or from seeking revenge. It comes from the ability to remain still in the face of chaos, to rise above provocation, to refuse to let others dictate your emotions. Let me share a story. A man I once knew, let's call him Victor, worked with someone who constantly tried to undermine him. This person would throw sarcastic remarks, challenge him in front of others, and try to get a reaction. At first, Victor played into it, arguing, defending himself, letting his frustration show. But then he realized something. Every time he reacted, his enemy gained the upper hand. So he made a change. The next time an insult came his way, he remained silent. He didn't flinch, didn't argue, didn't acknowledge the attempt to provoke him. And suddenly the dynamic shifted. His enemy grew frustrated. They lost their power because Victor refused to give it to them. Over time, the provocations stopped entirely. So how do you master your emotions? First, recognize your triggers. Know what unsettles you so you can prepare for it. Second, practice self-discipline. Pause before you react. Take a breath. Control your response. And finally, understand that emotional control is strength, not weakness. At the end of the day, true power lies in mastering yourself. When you stay calm, you remain untouchable, and in a world full of chaos, your composure will be the thing that makes you unstoppable. 2. Maintain an unshakable presence. True confidence doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't beg for attention, nor does it seek approval. Instead, it exists as a quiet force, one that commands respect the moment it enters a room. An unshakable presence is built on self-assurance, not arrogance. When you know who you are and what you stand for, You no longer feel the need to prove anything. Your posture, your movements, your energy, they all radiate strength and control. And here's the truth. Confidence without arrogance is intimidating. When you move with certainty, when you take up space unapologetically, people take notice. Not because you demand respect, but because you don't need to ask for it. The Stoics understood this well. Lao Tzu once said, "Silence is a source of great strength. It's not always what you say or do that holds power, but rather the quiet certainty you project." Silence isn't weakness, it's control. The one who can walk into a room and own their space without saying a word is the one others instinctively respect. Let me share a story. A man I knew, let's call him Marcus, was never the loudest in the room. He didn't seek attention, nor did he try to impress others. Yet somehow, people respected him instantly. His posture was strong, his movements deliberate, his energy unwavering. When Marcus entered a conversation, people naturally quieted, not because he demanded it, but because his presence commanded it. He didn't need to raise his voice. His presence alone spoke louder than words ever could. So how do you cultivate this presence? First, stand tall. Your posture influences how others perceive you. Shoulders back, head high, never shrinking. Second, move with intention. Every action should have purpose. And finally, embrace silence. Those who are truly powerful don't need to announce themselves. They simply exist in their strength. At the end of the day, true power is felt, not spoken. Walk into a room with quiet confidence, own your space, and watch how the world begins to respect you without you ever needing to say a word. 3. Let your actions speak. Powerful men do not waste time announcing their greatness. They do not explain. They do not boast. They simply act. In a world drowning in empty words and hollow promises, those who move in silence command the most respect. Everyone talks. They talk about their ambitions, their future successes, their grand visions. But words are cheap. True strength is not in what you say, but in what you do. Your discipline, your resilience, your ability to follow through. These are what define you. A person who consistently delivers results does not need to seek validation. Their actions alone speak for them. When you focus on action, you eliminate the need for explanation. You no longer have to convince others of your worth, because they see it in how you carry yourself. They see the results of your effort, the consistency of your discipline, and the quiet determination in your presence. And the best part? Your enemies will have nothing to argue against. Words can be twisted, but actions are undeniable. The Stoics understood this well. They believed that virtue, discipline, and resilience were not things to be discussed, but things to be lived. Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." The moment you stop talking about your strength and start demonstrating it, you become someone that others cannot ignore, and someone that your enemies cannot undermine. Let me share a story. A man I once knew, let's call him Adrian, was always talking about his ambitions. He would tell everyone about his big plans, about how successful he was going to be. At first, people listened, but after months of inaction, something changed. People stopped taking him seriously. They smiled, nodded, and dismissed his words as just that, words. Then, Adrian made a decision. He stopped talking and started doing. Instead of announcing his goals, he worked in silence. Every day he put in the effort, ignored the doubts, and focused on results. Slowly but surely, people started to notice. Not because he told them, but because they saw the transformation. His success was no longer a theory, it was real. And suddenly, the same people who once ignored him now respected him. So how do you let your actions speak? First, be consistent. Effort, no matter how small, compounds over time. Show up. Do the work. Let persistence separate you from those who only talk. Second, pursue excellence. Do not settle for mediocrity. Master your craft, sharpen your skills, and strive to be the best at whatever you do. And third, build resilience.